guys, come on, like, do you guys hear that? Like, seriously. Now that's a really nice view. But what's right back here is an even better view. What's up guys, my name is Brent Ruiz and welcome back to my YouTube channel. There it is, the Ferrari FF, which I am very, very happy to be able to test today. Thanks to my friend Ish. His Instagram is right here on the car, but let's check out the car first. This is actually, if you might recognize this car, formerly DDE or Daily Driven Exotics Ferrari FF. This is the car that they were in the process of basically turning into their camera car, I guess. But I don't know why they sold it, but they did. And then Ish picked it up and he picked up a really awesome car because this thing is incredibly clean. Now, this is actually going to be part 3, I guess, of my searching for my next daily drivable supercar, because so far I have tested the AMG GTR and the Audi R8. It's pretty close between those two. Now with this next car that I want to buy, I am really looking for something that I can daily drive, but that I can just like flip a switch and it turns into this insane car that I can have fun with whenever I want to, that I can drive it on roads like this. Check out this mountain pass that we're on. You wouldn't think that the Ferrari FF, how big this car is. It's 4,100 pounds plus. It is pretty much your ideal daily drivable supercar. It has 4 seats and 4-wheel drive. That's why they call it the Ferrari 4. It has this huge heavy V12 engine, which actually will show you guys right now. But you wouldn't think this car will do well on a road like this, right? But it has to if I'm going to consider purchasing it, because I love to drive my cars on roads like this. Let's see this engine real quick, because this is one of the most legendary engines in the history of engines. Check this thing out. Ferrari does such an amazing job with the way that they present their engines. 6.3 liters, V12, naturally aspirated V12, of course. This is a very heavy engine. This is a very heavy car. So how in the freaking world is this car going to handle on a road like this, a canyon road, a mountain pass? Ferrari has done something pretty trick. They've invented their own hybrid all-wheel drive system. What they've done is actually put a 2-gear transmission at the front of this V12 up here, which only really comes into play when you really need it, when you need the extra traction. This is actually one of the most practical V12 Ferraris you can ever possibly buy. Look at it. You have a ton of storage space, a ton of practicality to go along with an incredible driving experience. You can just open the boot here with the key, as I'll do right now. It'll automatically lift up, and look how much storage space is here. You can even lie down the seats flat so you can fit golf clubs, skis even. Ton of functionality, tons of practicality in this car. Not to mention the 4 seats, obviously. They're actually full-size seats. They're not these tiny little seats that only small children can fit into. They can actually fit full-size adults. And well, check out the interior. This is actually one of the cleanest interiors I've ever seen in a Ferrari FF. The leather looks in incredible shape. Once you get inside the cabin, it's like you're in a brand new car. The leather still smells like it would when it would be day one from the factory. That just goes to show you how incredible Ferrari leather, their interior work is insane. So I'm very, very excited to see how this car is going to do on a road like this. But no matter how well or how badly it might do it, it's going to sound amazingly doing it, because this actually has a custom X-pipe style exhaust and a muffler delete. Whew, without further ado, here are the keys. Let's get inside. I'll close the bonnet there, but we'll give it some revs and get on this amazing mountain pass road. as you can see, we are on a twisty mountain pass this time. Something I haven't done in my previous videos. It's mostly more of a canyon drive, but I thought I'd switch it up. Anyway, this car I know is going to handle pretty well on this road for what it is. A 4,100 pound plus 4-seater Grand Tour. And before I go into the handling aspect of this car, I really want to show you the most important, the most vital part of this car, my favorite part of this car, the sound, because this thing has a naturally aspirated V12, 6.3 liter V12, producing 650 horsepower, 504 pound-feet of torque. Oh, and it does actually handle really well. But let me just give you guys some more of this exhaust note. And in conjunction with this V12, it's paired up with a custom-made X-pipe style exhaust and a muffler delete. So in the world of FFs, this one in particular sounds really good. I just rolled down the window a little bit more so you guys can kind of appreciate this as much as I do. Those downshifts, oh my God. And this actually has a tune as well, a custom tune, just to give it some crackle, some burble on the overrun. Now, I know this car wasn't really supposed to be made for this kind of driving, but in my search for my next daily drivable supercar, oh my God, this thing is definitely in the equation. It's incredible the way that they've pretty much invented and literally did invent and patent this all-wheel drive or hybrid all-wheel drive system. As I mentioned before, it's really just insane to think about how heavy this car is and how twisty this road is and how well the Ferrari FF is navigating it. And pairing that handling experience up with that V12 sound, for a daily driver, oh my God. Yeah, you can feel the 2-gear transmission helping me out in the front there on that little hairpin. Let's go ahead and talk more about that transmission, the hybrid all-wheel drive system that this Ferrari FF has, especially now, since one thing I've noticed about this car is that you kind of have to like give it some cool down time. The engine does get a bit hot pretty fast. Like for every, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes of hard driving, you have to give it a good 1 minute cool down. But anyway, that's a huge V12, so you gotta let it rest a little bit, I guess. So yeah, why does this huge, massive car handle so well comparatively to other cars in its bracket? When Ferrari customers are going to buy Ferrari, they expect something. They expect to have a really exemplary driving experience, especially in terms of the handling. And the sound too, but let's talk about the handling. Okay, I gotta stop doing that. So yeah, that's why they didn't just go with any all-wheel drive system. They went with their own. It's called the 4RM, only available in gears 1 through 4 and reverse. So the fact that Ferrari took the time, the money, the R&D to develop this system just for this car really goes to show you how dedicated they are to making sure their customers know that when they're driving a Ferrari, they're getting that Ferrari experience. And that could not really be done if they fitted any other all-wheel drive system, which would immediately make this car much heavier. The hybrid system they have on this car actually is 50% lighter than if they were to go with a traditional system. God bless Ferrari, because I would definitely not be having as much fun as I am right now on this mountain pass it was any other all-wheel drive system. So I have to say that in terms of handling, this car handles amazingly for what it is. Absolutely impressed by that. But yeah, that's enough about that. I really want to hear more of the sound. Actually, I'm gonna show you guys what happens when I just mash the throttle. I'm not gonna do a launch on this car because, well, it's not my car, and well, let's see what happens. Traction, I'm in sport mode, by the way. 8,000 RPM red line. Yeah, it's pretty fast. It's pretty fast. Oh, guys, come on! Like, do you guys hear that? Like, seriously. 8,000 RPM red line. This car is fitted with the ceramic brakes as standard, which it definitely does need. This huge 4,100 pound car. I would not think that a road like this would fit and suit this car, but look at it. Oh my God, that sound though. Little burbles and crackles on the overrun, it's always fun. Oh God. All right. Getting hot again, so let's just do a little cool down lap here. Let's talk about the price of this car, because this car, when it was new, was not cheap whatsoever. This was actually only $16,000 less than an F12. 300K on the FF, 316K on the F12. When you compare what these cars are worth now on the used market, go ahead and look it up. For you to be able to get your hands on a legendary status engine, the Ferrari V12, for like $120,000, $130,000 right now, a good example like this, that's incredible. That's incredible. But the reason I brought up the F12 is because you can see really when you compare these two cars how much more the FF has depreciated. It's insane. F12s are still commanding a huge premium over this car. They have depreciated much less than the FF. They're still like, I don't know, $190,000, $200,000 at the low end. So obviously very different cars, but the only reason I'm comparing them is because what is the cheapest entry point into the 6.3 liter V12? It's the Ferrari FF. But yeah, those two numbers, the 300 and 316, those are just the base prices. That's before you added any options. Guys, when you start to option this car out from the base price of 300K, I have seen many window stickers of Ferrari FFs going for over $400,000. Absolutely insane. And I think we didn't have the window sticker on hand on this car, but just looking at all the options that it does have, I think this is one of those cars that really got up to that level. You'll see a lot of FFs don't have this carbon fiber steering wheel with the LED lights. This one does have it. This has the passenger display LCD. So when you have the passenger riding along and you're driving crazy, like I am kind of, well, if they're not closing their eyes, they'll be able to see at least your revs and the speed that you're going to. So my main point is, in terms of value for what you're getting on the used market today, you can get a very nice FF with not that many miles, maybe like, let's say 15,000, 20,000 for around $135,000 right now, which is an absolute bargain for what you are getting. But yeah, let's drive this thing a little bit more. I'm gonna put the window down because this is just way too much fun. This thing handles like you would not believe until you actually start driving it on a road like this. You don't understand. It's like, how the heck is that even possible? We gotta applaud Ferrari for their ingenuity in coming up with this system. They really wanted to maintain that rear wheel drive feeling that most of their other cars are known for, or all of their other cars are known for. What am I saying? This is actually the first production all-wheel drive car that Ferrari has ever made. They did have some kind of a concept car, I believe they made in the 1980s, but it was not a production car. But if you guys can hear these crackles, Ferrari FF owners, if you have not tuned your car for the burble/crackle tune, you should definitely do that. Let's talk about briefly how this car fits in the search for my next daily drivable supercar. So far, I am pretty much 50-50 between the AMG GTR and the Audi R8. The R8 has the better sound note, but the AMG GTR, when compared apples to apples in terms of a better driving car, the AMG GTR blows the R8 out of the freaking water. I'm sorry, R8 fans, but just compare the Nurburgring times. They don't call the AMG GTR the green hell for no reason. It is because it set an incredibly amazing time. I think one of the best times ever for a rear wheel drive car, like 7 minutes 11 seconds on the Nurburgring. For comparison's sake, 720S got about 708, the 600 LT 708 as well. Those two cars are actually very similar on that track. I did love the R8 though, just for the sound note that it has. It definitely has an edge with that V10, naturally aspirated V10 over the GTR, but the GTR is still very moddable. You can do a Rentec tune real quickly and you're already at like 660 horsepower. Put some downpipes and a revised tune and you're pushing 750 horsepower plus on that car. So the Ferrari FF, if I had a family, I would get this car. No doubt about it. If I had more friends, I would get this car. Yeah, that's how sad my life is. But I don't have either of those things, so I gotta say that the Ferrari FF really impressed me overall as an incredible handling car with 4 seats. But at the end of the day, like, this car it's very heavy. You know, it handles well, it handles impressively, but it doesn't handle anywhere near as close as some of these other cars. Like, I wouldn't foresee myself choosing this car over the GTR or the R8 if I were to do a track day, for example. That would be actually pretty funny to see a Ferrari FF at a track day. Although I would give the owner massive props for taking your FF to a track day. Anyway, that is the end of this drive, and I have to say a big thanks to my friend Ish. Is your standard annoying beeping sound on every Ferrari. Thanks again, Ish, for letting me do this today with your amazing car. I loved every minute of it. If you guys have a family, and if you guys have more friends than I do, this is definitely the option for your daily drivable supercar. There is a ton of room back there in those back seats. Tons of storage space in the boot back there. Tons of storage space in here in the main cabin with some cup holders, tons of pockets here on the side doors. A really great option for a daily driver. But if you're like me and you're like doing canyon drives every weekend, taking it to the track a few times a year at least, I think I have to say that I would not purchase this car over something that's still daily drivable like an AMG GTR or an Audi R8. For me, I just drive a little bit too crazy on a daily basis. I just want to have a little bit too much fun with the car than I think the FF would allow me. Not counting the sound note, just the amazing miles per gallon that the V12 exhaust note offers you. But not counting that, I do have to say that AMG GTR is my #1 choice so far. I think I'm gonna buy an AMG GTR, guys. I think I've made a decision. Let's see how fast I can find one. Congrats, Ish, on your Ferrari FF. I know Ish has been actually dying to have a Ferrari for a while. It's one of his dreams. So, Ish, congrats on your Ferrari, and man, I wish I actually had one of these just to have. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed watching, please gently destroy that like button. And if you like supercar content like this, and if you want more of this, please consider subscribing to my channel as well. I really appreciate it. Until the next one, I'll see you guys very soon. Deuces!